Do you know your iron levels? Well, nearly a third of women of reproductive age are iron deficient with symptoms like extreme fatigue, brain fog, and dizziness. Yet many are misdiagnosed with anxiety, stress, or even thyroid issues. So Dr. Jennifer Zelowitsky is here. She's a physician who specializes in women's health, and she's also the host of the podcast Medsplaining. She joins us this morning to help us discuss iron deficiency. Good morning.
Good morning, Crystal. Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, it is a pleasure to chat with you, and so many people watching are really listening carefully because iron deficiency is so common. Why is iron so essential?
Well, iron, when you think iron, think oxygen. Iron is an essential mineral that is a key component of hemoglobin and myoglobin, which carry the oxygen to all of the cells in our body. That explains a lot of the symptoms that you described: fatigue, shortness of breath, pale skin. If we don't have enough iron, we may not have enough oxygen.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
Yeah.
you need it. Breathing is essential to life. So let's talk about how iron deficiency can impact a woman through her lifetime. We'll start with the teen years. What happens then?
Sure. In our teen years, we often have the start of our menstrual period, so we're having a little bit of blood loss every month, but also a lot of teens experiment with vegetarian and vegan diets. And then we have growth spurts as well. All of those things can lead to some iron deficiency.
All right, and we're going to get into how to nutritionally and with supplements maybe help your iron deficiency, but I want to go through the other stages of life too. So we have, pregnancy, postpartum, that is a time that takes a toll on a woman's body.
Absolutely. Pregnancy, our blood volume increases, which therefore increases our need for iron. And so often women are put on a prenatal supplement, which one of the key components of that is iron, to allow us to grow that other human within us. And then we have delivery and labor, which can also lead to some blood losses. And then after, we're not always taking care of ourselves nutritionally when we're taking care of that new baby.
Okay, all right. And then perimenopause, that's being talked about more now than ever, and that is a good thing. But what happens to iron at that phase of a woman's life?
Well, we all often think about perimenopause and menopause as our periods stopping. But what happens for many women is periods get much, much heavier and much closer together before they eventually taper off and stop. And this is an extremely vulnerable time for women where so many of us become iron deficient and anemic.
Oh my goodness. And then, all right, once menopause hits, are you in the clear? Is your iron woes over?
The good news is it does tend to improve after menopause finally arrives and we're not losing that blood every month. But again, dietary intake can be an important component of ensuring you have enough iron.
Okay, well, let's get into that. How can we boost our iron intake?
Well, that's a great question. So there's two types of iron. There's heme iron, which is from animal products, so meat, fish, chicken, eggs. And then there's non-heme iron, which I've brought some examples of for people who prefer a vegetarian or more plant-based diet. Chickpeas, lentils, beans, leafy greens, all excellent ways to get some iron. But it's important to know if you're predominantly having non-heme iron sources, you want to take it with a source of vitamin C. So bell peppers, citrus fruit, berries, that helps to increase the absorption. And if you're really struggling to get enough iron from your diet, supplements, which again can be heme or non-heme versions, can be very helpful just to make sure that you're hitting those iron targets that you and your doctor would be establishing.
All right. And if you're watching right and you think, I may have some iron issues, but they haven't been detected by a doctor, how would you go about finding out if you are iron deficient?
Well, I think it's really important to be direct with your doctor. Tell them the type of diet you have, what your concerns are, make sure they're aware if you're having heavy periods, and ask for those key blood tests, which would be a complete blood count and a ferritin count, along with maybe some more detailed iron studies to determine the type of anemia you might have and the best way to resolve it.
Perfect. So it starts with a conversation and then a simple blood test. Thank you so much, Dr. Zelowitsky.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
It has been our pleasure.